losers inspire.
Welcome back to another Wisdom Wednesday discussion. I am your guide, Sans Inspire, generating, uplifting, inspiring, developing, and empowering you to live inspired every day forever. Because that's life. Today, forgive, forget, and forego. Because we're talking about forgiveness as love. What? Forgiveness as love? I can't forgive. Then it's going to be hard for us to love. And as always, this discussion is centered around self. Because here we believe that to be someone who inspires, you must first understand loss. So we embrace the term loser, for we love outreaching set expectations regarding self. So our discussions are regarding ourselves, the things that we need to do in order to be able to experience life. To live inspired every day forever means that we must never stop prospering. It requires effort daily. And that prosperity that we are speaking of is in relation to our own life. For if someone else's life is prosperous, but mine isn't, that's an issue for me. When my life becomes prosperous, what I'm able to do with that, I can assist others. But we can't assist anybody till we cease and desist trying to be everything for everybody. Can't help your fellow man until you can help this man yourself. And I want to express that because when we're talking about forgiveness as love, when we hear the terms forgiveness, when we hear love, we always think outside ourselves because we think of love as something outside of ourselves. And this is a continuation on our theme for this month. Last week we were talking about love as healing. The first week we were talking about self-love and these things, how they relate as we culminate this month next week. But this week, forgiveness as love. Forgiveness as love. And to start, we're going to start with our affirmation. Affirmation for this discussion is I forgive not to forget. I forgive not to forget, but to free myself to live fully. A lot of times we think forgiveness and we like, what? You want me to forget what they did to me? I can never forget that. I'll never forgive them for what they did or what happened. And that's understandable to an extent. Yet there comes a time where we have to understand or express what type of life do we want to live? Do we want to live half-heartedly or do we want to live fully? Because in this renewed life, where we live inspired, where we are living inspired every day forever, that's not half-heartedly. That's a full life, a fulfilling life. So in order to get there, gotta let something go. And forgiveness is that thing that we're going to talk about because as long as we are holding on to it, we don't get to receive what we need. So again, our theme for this month has been around self, around love, and around giving, and how that is the ultimate way that we receive is to give. So I forgive not to forget, but to free myself to live fully. The intention is to teach that forgiveness is not weakness. It's not weakness, but the highest form of love. And again, we are going for the greater, not the lesser. For the greater encompasses the lesser can never be the greater. So we always want to seek higher ground. We want to be the highest. And the highest form of love is forgiveness. Okay, so our intent is to teach that this forgiveness is not a weakness, but it's the highest form of love that we can attain. An act that frees the spirit and prepares us for deeper alignment. It ain't that deep, bro. Yes, it is. And we're tired of swimming in the shallow end. Those who stay in the shallow end can never go in the deep end, but those who swim in the deep end can always come back to the shallow. So the outcome is going to be releasing resentment, reclaiming our energy, and embodying love in action. In action. Because this isn't something that we're just doing, saying, or perpetuating. This is real life action. We are applying this to our real life because that's where we are. Reality, right? Real life. And we want to live our real life, not the lives of others or somebody or something else. And by living in action, we prepare our spirit for a greater purpose. So let's talk about the weight that we carry. Our chained hearts versus our sovereign release. We are carrying weight and it may be too much. Our heart is chained when it should be free. We are talking about becoming and being our sovereign selves. In order to get there, we have to acknowledge, damn, we carrying some weight, number one, and we got to release that. So the guiding question we're going to start with is what resentment, what resentment feels like a stone in your chest, weighing you down, but it's familiar to carry, so you don't do anything about it. It's adding weight to you, but it's so familiar, you just like, you know what, I'm used to this. What would it be if I let this go, if I didn't have this weight to carry? And the anchoring thought comes from a quote from Mark Twain. And it says, forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. So if you think about, you stepped on a violet, a flower, and what it left behind was this pleasant fragrance, forgiveness. It's not what we carry, the weight, the memory of that thing that just keeps recurring and recurring in our head all the time. It's the freeing, the fragrance, that reminder. It's not condoning what happened. When we condone or we are familiar with this weight, we continue to carry it. So we accept the resentment, the bitterness, and the grudges. That's what end up weighing us down and drain our spirit. Forgiveness is the freeing, releasing all that, choosing freedom over bondage. So I no longer want to hold on to that resentment. I no longer want to be bitter, and I'm no longer holding grudges. And when we are present within ourselves and we can hear what we're saying, we are saying that I'm holding all of this wear in my body. I'm holding it in. You hold grudges. You gotta hold on to them. You hold resentment. You keep bitterness. To forgive is to release that. Let that weight fall off your shoulder. You feel lighter. I'm not bitter, and those grudges aren't weighing me down anymore. Yet these words are very interesting to me. So I wanted to tap back into something that we used to do a lot and we're going to bring back. And that's defining, making definitions to be certain. And so when I think of the word forgive, and as our discussion is titled forego, those three words came to my mind in prepping this discussion, forego. And so as we go into how these terms relate, I just want to define each one of them. So to define forgive is to stop feeling angry or resentful towards someone for an offense, flaw, or mistake. It also it means to cancel, and it involves an intentional decision to let go. So to forgive is to stop feeling angry or resentful towards someone for an offense, flaw, or mistake. To forget, to fail to remember, to put out of one's mind, cease to think of or consider. So if we forget, we fail to remember, we put it out of our mind, and we cease to think about it or consider it. It's gone. What? To forego is to admit or decline to take, to go without. And the last one I looked up was for, F-O-R. To define for, it is intended to reach, directed, or belonging to. It is used to indicate the place someone or something is going to or towards. And that stood out to me because I break words down a lot more than I used to pay attention to what I'm saying, what is being said to me, what I'm doing. And when I hear the word forgiveness, I hear the word forgive, which to me, that took on a life of its own once I began to forgive. Because for the longest, I was like, forgiveness, hell nah. forgive. Oh no, I ain't forgetting. I'm not going to forgive you, nor am I going to forget what was done to me. This is how the villain is spawned. This is how we create the villain. The villain can't forgive or forget. It holds on. So that resentment, that bitterness, those grudges that they hold on become their world. And I was building my world out of these things. Resentful for what happened, bitter for even experiencing it, and then holding a grudge because I want my payback, my get back. And I was holding on to these things and holding on and holding on and holding on and waiting for the day and plotting and planning. And I can't wait till it was like, huh? So you want to keep going forward, right? You want to live inspired every day. Well, you got to put some of that down. And I said, nah, man, I can't put this down. Put this down. What? No, I'm carrying this with me. You can carry that with you. You can carry it. But after a while, you're going to get tired. After a while, you're going to start questioning. Not if these things are weighing me down, but you're going to say, why is this happening to me? Why did I not make it there yet? How come this person gets this? And how come? And I was looking through it, looking at life, not through the lens that I needed to look at it, but through the lens of everybody else. Mainly all those people who I felt like did me wrong. I was paying more attention to them and what they were doing. How come they get this and how come they get that? And why are they smiling and I'm over here? And it wasn't helping me. It was benefiting them because all my time and attention is going towards them and what they doing, what they saying. They want an audience. It was taken away from me being. It was hindering my prosperity. It was hindering my health. And so not because I wanted them to have anything. Oh no. We still playing that get back. We had to forgive, not to forget, but to free myself to live fully. Because as long as I was holding on, imagine you holding on to this and you need to get that over there. How you gonna get it? I gotta get this thing over here, but I'm holding on to this. I gotta let go. And then when I let go, I gotta jump. Because that's the old that we're holding on to. That's the outdated, the resentment, the bitterness, the grudges. You're holding on to that. And we gotta let it go. And as long as my focus was on them, I wasn't gonna let it go. Because in my mind, to forgive them meant they won or something, or that they got something that I did that I couldn't have. So I got to give them forgiveness, but I still don't get nothing at the end of the day. Even hearing me say it now is too focused. I see where it's too focused on somebody else because I'm worried about them and not me. I'm worried about if I forgive them, how that benefits them and not how it actually benefits me. And when I looked at that word more closely, it said forgiveness. After a while, it was like, wait, forgiving. That word hit me one day so hard, forgiving. Why am I holding on to something that's forgiving? Wait, why am I holding on to something that is forgiving? And it hit me just like that. I'm holding on to something that is for me to give. And the longer that I hold on to something that is for me to give, what do I get for that? It's time for you to give that up, but you don't want to, so you hold on to it. And the longer you're holding on to it, it ends up working against you. You no longer need that anymore. I no longer needed to hold on to the resentment, to the bitterness, to the grudges anymore. It was for me to give it. So it had nothing to do with what they were going to receive from it because I didn't have to go physically tell them. I didn't have to go knock on it. Excuse me, I forgive you for it. Because it wasn't them that I was forgiving. Is forgiving first to yourself. And I had to forgive myself for not seeing myself because it was only because I didn't have the self-love that I needed, the appreciation for myself that I needed. I didn't see myself as fearfully and wonderfully made. I was a wretch. I was no good, bottom of the barrel. There was nothing valuable about me. And because I saw myself like that, that's what allowed me to be in a position where people can take from you, to discard you. So I had to forgive aspects of myself for even putting me in a situation like that. See, it's not about them. They did this to me. They did. And I had to ask myself, why was I around those type of people to begin with? Why was I in that place? What made me go to that job? So I couldn't see it then, but afterwards I could see it. Once I took off or did away with what power I believed that they had. So I didn't want to forgive them because I thought they had power over me. Me not forgiving is what created the experiences that I was having. They were negating me because not allowing myself to be better meant that I was bitter. So anytime I interacted with energy like that, I was going to be bitter. Somebody asked me a question, I'm bitter. I don't got nothing good to say. Somebody says, have a good day. Well, I have a good day. Today sucks just like every other day. The sun's shining, and I'm worried about how hot it is outside. It's too damn hot. When the sun go away, now I'm worried about it's too damn cold. It's too rainy, too cloudy. It was always too something. I could not see what I needed to see. I couldn't feel what I needed to feel. My emotions were hijacked. My spirit was hijacked. I was counterfeit. I wasn't who I'm supposed to be. I sure wasn't inspired. The Grinch. And what that caused in my life, it caused me to stop feeling. Just like the definition to forgive is to stop feeling. Well, because I wasn't forgiven, I stopped feeling. Because I wouldn't forget it, I failed to remember who I was. And because I wouldn't forego, I didn't admit or decline anything. I accepted anything and everything from everybody, everything they told me, everything they did. It must have been the truth because they know me better than I know myself. And that was the issue, that somebody could know me better than I know myself. I would let them tell the story and not me. Is it not your story? Is it not your life? Then why is it that somebody else is always telling your story? How can somebody convince you unless you don't know who you are? So because I wasn't forgiving, I could not feel. And because I wasn't willing to forget it, I failed to remember who I was. And because I didn't forego, I didn't omit or decline. I accepted everything. I took on everything. I was afraid to go without, so I needed everything. And so now the way that I see it is forgiveness as love is for the giving. You must give it first to yourself. Because the word for, the definition is intended to reach, directed or belonging to, used to indicate the place someone or something is going to or towards. So if they say give, it denotes what? To get denotes what? To go denotes what? When we put for in front of it, it tells us where it's intended and directed to. Forgiveness is directed to ourselves. Forgetting is directed to ourselves. Foregoing is directed to ourselves. To forgive means you are intending to give yourself something that you didn't. And what you're giving yourself is that peace, that release. In forgiving, we release resentment and anger. So we give ourselves the okay to let that shit go, to remove that resentment or that anger towards somebody for what they did, what we thought, assumed they did, or their flaw, or their mistake. By not forgiving them, think, oh, that's weakness, and they've won. They didn't win anything. The hardest thing to do. So when we're seeing where we avoid hard things, right? It's become easy to forget about it, but you haven't really forgotten it. You just push it back. You avoid it. So avoidance is easier. Forgiveness is harder. Forgiveness releases us, not them. You release yourself from the bondage, the resentment, the anger that is not doing you any good. You release that. In forgetting, you release the memory or that conscious connection that you built towards that person, place, or thing. So we release that memory or conscious connection that we had. No, that's gone. And when we forego, we release possession, the desire or pursuit of that anger or that emotion. So forgive to release the anger and resentment. Forget to release the memory or thought of, and forgo to release the possession the anger had or the desire to remain in or near, to move forward in freedom and in peace in life. So forgiving, free your heart, letting go of that person. They no longer are a part of the equation. Your heart is now free from the resentment. You forget to free the mind, to remove that fixation. It's no longer a thing that I think about all day, every day, or randomly from I thought I let it. Nope, it's gone now. And to forgo, we free our path by not clinging on to what we don't need. So it's not about them, yet it is about you. And with everybody holding on to bitterness, to resentment, to anger, you see how difficult it becomes to actually help the next person. Matter of fact, you have so much resentment and anger in you, you don't want to help nobody because you resent and you have anger. So why should I go help them? This person did this to me. This is what happened to me in my life. Why should I go help them? Trust me, if I hold on to that resentment and anger, they win, not me. Because I'm just going to be bitter, angry, and I'm going to validate all the negative things that they project out there. When we get hurt, we hold on, we don't let go, we begin to validate everything somebody says. We create justifications for it. Oh, see, I told you, look, that's why they did it. So if we truly want to break the narrative and live our own lives, forgiveness should be a thing that we embrace more often. Yet again, it's not forgiving them and saying, I forgive you, but we're still holding on within ourselves, beating ourselves up for this happening, that happened. You forgive and release yourself, your heart, your mind, your spirit. And that makes you lighter. That makes you more loving, more capable, more able, more willing when you see someone else to assist them. Because now I know exactly where you are. I know what you're dealing with. I know how to do this. I know you're going to need to do some of it yourself. Yeah, I can be here to support you. As long as you want to hold on to that bah humbug and be mad and that, we can't come near you. Love can't come near you. Peace can't come near you. Healing can't come near you. Not in the sense of how it should be near you, all around you. You might feel it here and there, very fleeting, but this should be every single day. It shouldn't be this hard for us to find peace in a single day. In a single moment of a day, we struggle to find peace. Yet we can also always find resentment, anger, fear, uncertainty, doubt, frustration, sadness, etc. The positive qualities seem so far-fetched and unbelievable. Seems like a fairy tale. Yet the negative qualities we believe in. We believe in hate, but not love. The power of it, but we don't see, nor feel, nor understand how love actually works. We block and negate ourselves from the true experience of this on a daily. And we just blame it on everything and everybody else. And so holding resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the offender to die. I drink it, and I look over at you and expecting you to die. And it's me that gets hurt. But because I resent you and I look at you like this and you're smiling, it makes me even more irritable. And I think I'm doing something to you. And I'm not. I'm hurting myself. And the more I resent, the more I hurt myself. So why would I want to hurt myself? That's the question. Why would I want to hurt myself? The only time you want to hurt yourself is if and when you think you have no value, that you aren't worth anything. And so we've gotten to this point where we have diminished our self-value. So we don't care about hurting ourselves. And we do it continuously on a daily basis. In fact, we'd rather hurt ourselves than somebody else. Oh, I'm sorry for hurting you. And then we just go right back to hurting ourselves. Am I saying to go hurt other people? Absolutely not. I'm saying that if it is okay to step on yourself, if we okay that, how can we say that we care about anything else? if I have the least care and concern about me, can I truly say that I love you or you or you or you? Because to hold on to these things all the time, we have no room for what needs to grow. We have no room to feel what we need to feel, to learn what we need to learn, to know that forgiveness is love in action. It's not something that you can even be told. It's an experience that must be had. Because until you actually forgive and experience that, it's far fetched. It just sounds like hush posh. Sounds like some stuff that you're just saying. Sounds good. Yet to live inspired every day forever is to recognize that holding on to pain blocks our flow and our purpose. And we're here to flow on purpose with intent. So we understand that holding on to this pain is going to block us. So for nothing else, we want to get rid of that. We want to unclog so we can flow because we're here to live inspired every day forever. I heard about this life thing and I want to know what that feels like because I know what this feels like. I know what it's been like to live this way. Yet I want to experience that. And so if I have to remove these blocks, if I have to release, to let go, then I'm ready for that. That's what we understand when we are talking about this life. That in order to live inspired every day forever, we have to remove the blockages. We got to release. We got to let go. We can't keep holding on to everything. And so forgiveness is what clears our channel so we can begin to radiate this wholeness, to experience and express this life. And our spiritual anchors, first one is Vedic. And it tells us that forgiveness is seen as the highest virtue, a purifier of both the giver and receiver. So in Vedic wisdom, they understand that Kshama or forgiveness is the highest virtue, and it purifies both the person who gives and the person who receives. See, this is not about them. You see, every time we talk about giving, it impacts two. Even if you don't even care about them, you are giving so that you are purified. And whether or not you know it, when you purify yourselves, you purify someone else. This is why you need to understand who self is. Because as long as they can tell you that what you're doing is selfish, you really don't understand how you are taking away, negating what the world needs, how we are impacting negatively our own lives by actually taking ourselves away, being one-sided. So you don't forgive, so you are not purified, nor is the other person. So you're also helping to spread the negativity. If you've actually forgiven yourself and released, forgot, and forgo, you recognize that whatever that person did, whoever that person was, they almost cease to exist after that. Not that they're still there, but they don't have the impact on you anymore. As hard as it was to or forgive what that did to you, let's say it was a coworker or your boss at work. Every single time you went into that workplace, here you go, chest tightening, getting anxious, palms sweaty, nervous. I can't be around this person. It's hard to operate. When you forgave, you forgot, you forgo, now you just walk past them like nothing happened. You removed that from your being. The impact, any hold that they had on you is gone. You're not faking it, trying to put on a smile. You can actually smile. You don't actually think about it all the time. And I kid you not, as long as you're hurting, you're helping them. And they know that. As long as they can see you down and out and crying and mad and all that weight bearing down on you, and they know that it's helping them. The moment that they see you smile again, the moment that they see you living life for real, that's when it's going to hurt. Because now the question is, how are you happy? A lot of times there's things happen to us or people do things in order to take away from you, to impact you. Somebody knows that if I just say this thing, they'll give up. What happens when you don't? What happens when the bully has no one to bully anymore? when the burdens don't burden you, when the fear no longer makes you afraid, when the doubt is simply just a question and you apply the answer to it. So you're not uncertain. What happens on the other side of these things is what it means to inspire life. To be on the other side, to release and regain. In Taoist teaching, it tells us that forgiveness is flowing like water, soft yet unstoppable, eroding even the hardest stone of resentment. Soft yet unstoppable. So forgiveness is flowing like water. It just is. And that water, as refreshing as it is, as cool and crisp and soft as it is, can erode the hardest stone. How do you stop water? And as long as it doesn't stop, it's just going to keep over time. It's going to take away from that because it's not stopping. So your forgiveness allows you to not stop, which means that over time, you overtake whatever that was that you thought was going to overtake you over time. See, what happens is we stop, we get stuck. The resentment, we get stuck, we get stagnant, and then we start going backwards. But if we are forgiving, releasing, we continue to flow. And over time, whatever it looked like we were stuck in is the thing that we begin to overcome. This is when you turn your naysayers into cheerleaders. At that time, it looked like you were stuck. You were continuing to go. And over time, we saw the real you because you continued to flow. What looked like stagnation was not stagnation. You're recalibrating. You're resting. You were doing something different than what you had done before. Because we're so used to burden and then they can't bear it. They're going to give up. Push them until they quit. Resentment, they're going to resent, they're going to become bitter, and then they're just going to move out of the way. Well, what happens when those people, instead of becoming bitter, become better? What happens when you become better? In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32, it says, "And be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even hath forgiven you. And be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you." So you was forgiven. You're asked to be kind, tenderhearted, and to forgive. You say, forget about that, right? Forget it. And in Matthew chapter 6, verse 14, it says, "If ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you." Because forgiveness is not condoning harm at all. It is refusing to let it take over. It's refusing to let it colonize your spirit. We're not talking about condoning whatever somebody did. We're talking about releasing ourselves from bondage. When we remove them from the equation, it's just us, I, me. So how do I begin to be tenderhearted? How can I forgive, or how can I be kind to someone else? How can I be tenderhearted? I have to forgive because it is for the giving. Forgiving those aspects of myself first, which releases and purifies whatever role they had into it. You don't have to sit here and say, I forgive Sharon for doing this to me. What aspect did you play in this? Forgive myself for allowing, for not seeing, for accepting, and then that allows us to forget, which then allows us to forgo. But instead of forgiving, we want to jump to forgetting, and you just forgo everything. So putting this in action in our life looks like us writing a letter to someone you are ready to forgive. Even if you never send it, it looks like us writing a letter to someone we are ready to forgive. And in that moment that we're writing this letter, we inhale deeply and exhale the word release as we envision this weight being released off of us. Simply just in writing this letter. We never send it, we never have to tell them about it. And deeply breathing as we release and envision this being let go off. What impact does that have? How impactful was that in that moment just to release that? Because the contrast, ourselves being in this prison of unforgiveness and how it costs, what the cost is on our life, on our soul. See, a life without forgiveness, you remain tied to the offender, that person who you're saying, I don't want to let them off the hook or forgive them. I can't forgive them, as if we're condoning what they did. So as long as we don't forgive, we remain tied to that offender. We two Pete, we like this. We twins now. We conjoined. Our energy is trapped in the past. That's why we keep going back there in our memories, because we're supposed to go back and get it, but we keep leaving it there. So we have to continuously go back in our mind every time because our energy is trapped in the past. And we confuse revenge with healing. I got revenge. You didn't heal though. The revenge that we think we're getting hurts us more than it hurts that person. Because the true revenge is forgiving. Because what we're actually saying is, you lost your mind if you think I'm gonna stoop that low. So you went and did that. I'm not about to go do that. Nope. I'm get it out of here. Nope. Let it go to release it. But to think of this person did this, so I'm about to go do it too. You just put yourself in the same boat that they're in the same shoes that they're in, and now they got you. Maybe they was like that, but now that I got you to be like that, that's where the resentment comes. Is the resentment always tied to what they did, or is the resentment tied to our response to it? Is the bitterness tied to what they did, or is it the response that we had to it? Are we holding a grudge because what they did to you or what it made you do? Because as long as we are trapped in this unforgiveness, we're going to remain tied to them. We're going to keep our energy trapped in the past, and we're going to want revenge, but we won't get healing, which means our body is going to store this tension, which translates to fatigue or pain in our lives. Never feeling rested enough, always feeling like something's hurting. Our spirit is dimmed, which means our intuition is impacted, which means we stay confused. We don't know if we coming or going. We don't know if this person's telling the truth or they're a lie. I don't know what to trust. And then in the community, because this is what we end up relating to others based off of this, creating community, which means we're projecting our pain onto each other. So therefore, I isolate. Now I don't want to be around anybody. And this isolation is just us projecting our pain. Because you're going to have moments where you're going to be by yourself anyway. But to purposely isolate ourselves, that's a projection of pain, because it's not what we're here for. It's not who we are naturally. We don't naturally like being alone. Though there are times where we know we must be alone. We're here for companionship, for community. So when we see these things, we know that we're trapped. Yet with forgiveness, we reclaim our inner authority. Now that intuition is buzzing, we know up, down, left from right. Love becomes our compass. We're moved by this each and every day. And we embody that spirit led, free to be me. Now that song, I'm Coming Out, I Want the World to Know, that's what's playing in my head right now. I don't know if that was the true meaning of the song or what, but when you begin to unlock that prison and forgive, you're now a free spirit. You're not worried about any of that. You're free to be yourselves. You live and lead with love. You reclaim your inner authority. And as we spoke on this before, our natural state is peace and joy. So to reclaim our inner authority is to go back to our natural state of peace and joy, which means, of course, love is your compass, which means, of course, your spirit is led to freedom because that's where it came from. We remove the traps from our bodies and our minds. And so in our discussion, we always come to this point where we take the leap. Because up until this point, it could just be a discussion. We're just talking. And I'm just sitting here telling you what to do or not to do, and that's not what this is about. We answer the question. We identify, first of all, what is the issue that we have. Then we begin to ask and answer the questions and apply the corrective action needed in our life. That is what the LEAP protocol is. It's an acronym that stands for listen, or locate, engage, anchor, propel, because we want to leap into life. So the two acronyms that we have are LEAP and LIVE. Locate, engage, anchor, propel, listen, invite, verify, and express. And if this is your first time being a part of one of these discussions or seeing this, hearing the LEAP protocol, I want you to understand that this, if you did nothing else but listen the whole time, when it gets to this point, this is where you can take action. This is the protocol that is designed to show you how to put it into play, to take the leap to live for life. So, forgiveness as spiritual freedom. The steps that you must take for this protocol, the first step, is to locate. And what we are locating is our feeling. I feel the weight of resentment around what? We want to locate the issue. What's the issue that we have with forgiveness? I feel weight and resentment around blank. You locate it. And then you listen to where your spirit feels heavy. This is the life integration. So we're going to locate where the issue is. I feel weight and resentment around what? We're going to listen to where our spirit feels heavy. Then we're going to engage. Your prompt for engaging it. This challenge is teaching me to release and to rise. Because once we locate it, here's the question. Then we engage it. What is this thing doing for me? What is the reason for this? After we listen, right? Then we engage. This challenge is teaching me to release and to rise. And if I'm engaging, then I have to invite this. Because this is the part where we're changing. We want to do something new, not to continue to do the same thing that we've done before. So we're going to invite love into this womb. How do we do that? We're going to anchor in. You're going to put your hands over your heart. And I anchor in freedom through forgiveness. And you verify that by breathing into your heart space, taking those deep breaths in, holding, and out as you connect with your heart space. So now we've located, we've listened, we've engaged, we've invited, we anchor, we verify. Now it's time to move forward. Now we propel. Today, I take a step toward freedom by, and then you name what you are going to do. Today, I take a step towards freedom by, and then you express that. You express it by writing in the blank, and you express it by putting this love in action through your release. That propel is part of the release, the expression, which is going to allow you to experience something new. And with each one of our discussions, we apply this LEAP protocol because I want to be able to provide you with a tool that you can use in your day-to-day life to help you with any problem that you have. The only thing you got to do is pull out a pen or a piece of paper or some notes and journal it out. It takes you to put the input in, and you have to locate whatever the issue is, listen, engage it, invite in what you need to invite in after you engage, anchor down, verify, propel forward, and that the expression create the new experience. This LEAP protocol is part of each one of our discussions, and we intend to release it so that it can be a part of your daily life. So anytime you have an issue, you can go straight to your journal and leap straight into that new experience. It just takes the time, the space for you to put in the energy. And every time we leap, we close. So we talked about forgiveness as love. We took the leap, and now we have to challenge ourselves and close it out. And so for the Q&A today, the 3 questions that I have. The first one is, what memory are you rehearsing that you can't forget? What memory are you rehearsing that you can't forget. Uno, dos, ER, 1, 2. Where have you confused forgiveness with weakness? Uno, dos, tres, 1, 2, 3, sir. What would tomorrow be like if you forgave today? Our life covenant that we have to close this out is I refuse to let pain be my prison. I choose freedom as my fragrance. And it smells so good. An ancestral close that I have says, let your forgiveness be fierce, a wildfire cleansing old fields, so new harvests can rise. You are both flame and flower. Let your forgiveness be fierce, a wildfire cleansing old fields, so new harvests can rise. You are both flame and flower. So this week, choose one relationship, past or present, where you will release resentment. You just gotta choose one. Can't say I ain't got one. Yes, you do. Choose one, past or present, where you will release resentment. Write it, breathe it, pray it out. Just don't carry it forward. We talk about what it takes for us to do what's needed. So choose because you have the ability to. It is your choice to or not to. Just one, past or present, where you will release. Write it, breathe it, pray it. Do not carry it forward. Let it go. Forgive, not because they deserve it, because you do. Forgive it, forget it, forgo it. And the final takeaway is forgiveness is the bridge from pain to peace. It is love in motion, preparing the spirit for a walk freely into purpose. To forgive is to embody life, and to embody life is to live inspired every day, forever, because that is life.